It's been filled with a lot of joy and laughter, but tonight is the end. Wow, I am thirsty.
Have a good show tonight, host.
Oh, thank you, Joseph.
You're welcome, Joseph.
Tonight's show is going to be a good one. We are announcing our Coach and Player of the Year candidates. It's an hour-long special. It's going to be a lot of fun. Gridiron Glory starts right now. What was that? What's up, everybody? I am Joseph Hennessy, the host of Gridiron Glory, and tonight is our final show. We will be announcing our Coach and Player of the Year, so stick around to see if your hometown kid will walk away with the award. But first, last week we talked about the Friday games, but here are the recaps from the Saturday night matchups. The Waterford Wildcats in D7 Region 27 fell to the #1 seed Harvest Prep Warriors 35-21. Nick Faust had 2 receiving touchdowns, but would ultimately fall and end their season at 9-3 in Division 4. Region 15, the John Glenn Little Muskies fought till the last minute of the game against Licking Valley. Noah Wellmeyer ran for 99 yards and both of John Glenn's touchdowns on 32 carries. GGPOY candidate Reese Perkins helped move the chains all night with 5 catches and 43 yards, but 2 interceptions in the fourth would not help them upset the #1 seeded Panthers as they would lose 20-14. Tremendous seasons for both. We'll break down those teams and their conferences later in the show, but we're going to start with the TVC Ohio. The conference championship game came down to Week 10. To say the least, our preseason rankings looked a tad bit different than how they ended. Trent Holland has the recap.
The TVC Ohio did not disappoint this year as the conference championship came down to a true nail-biter. The conference was very competitive this year, forcing new coaches and players to step up. The River Valley Raiders had a bumpy ride this year and finished the season at 2-8 overall and 1-5 in conference play. Senior running back Cole Young ended up breaking the school record for rushing yards in a season. The Megs Marauders also finished with a record of 2-8 overall and 1-5 in the TVC Ohio. Sophomore quarterback Coulter Cleveland and the Marauders experienced some growing pains this season, but will be sure to come back stronger next year. The Alexander Spartans started the season out strong, winning their first 3 games, but ended up only winning 1 more through the next 7, leaving them at 4-6 overall and 1-5 in the conference. Under the coaching of Mike Smith, the Wellston Golden Rockets made major improvements this season. Rylan Han had a breakout year and got himself a bid for the Player of the Year. Wellston also made the playoffs for the first time since 2006 and finished the season with an overall record of 7-4 and 4-2 in conference play. The Vinton County Vikings defense only allowed 151 points all season long, which was the best in the TVC Ohio. This led them to a 5-5 record overall and 4-2 in league play. The Athens Bulldogs finished with a share of the conference title as they put up an overall record of 5-5, which was good for 5-1 in the TVC Ohio. The Bulldogs rallied behind the arm of Joey Moore, who is also candidate for Player of the Year. And now to wrap up the list, the Nelsonville York Buckeyes managed to clinch a share of the conference title after they took down the Bulldogs in the last week of the regular season off a game-winning pick. They finished the season at an impressive 7-3 overall and 5-1 in conference matchups.
Alrighty, TVC Ohio lead reporter Jacob Murray joins me now, and Wellston had a season that they won't forget, coming out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, you hit the bullseye on that one, Joe. You know, the Golden Rockets shot out of nowhere to make the playoffs for the first time since 2006, thanks in large part to a new culture. That culture was implemented by Coach Mike Smith, and he has gotten the most out of this group, flipping their record from 3-7 to 7-3, thanks in large part to their workhorse, Rylan Han.
Yeah, you think losing Mullahan to graduation might be a little too much for this team to handle next
Oh,
season?
hold your horses there, Joe. This offense is still bringing back a couple of key pieces, in quarterback R.J. Kemp and receiver Hunter Smith. But Mullahan's replacement could be something to watch for. I've seen bruising running back Jonathan Garvin state his case behind Mullahan this year by trucking his way through the competition.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Wellston, and rightfully so, but they didn't get a share like Nelsonville York and the Athens Bulldogs did, though.
Yeah, these two rivals have gone back and forth the last 2 seasons with the TVC Ohio crown, so it seemed fitting that both would have to share the conference for this season. For next year, Athens still seems potent on offense and could take a step forward under second-year head coach Nathan White, and if Player of the Year candidate Joey Moore takes another step forward, this Bulldogs offense could be difficult to stop. Now for Nelsonville York, they do lose a D1 athlete in Keegan Wilburn, and center caller Mikey Seal will be tough to replace. We'll look for sophomore QB Drew Carter to become the next QB1 for the Buckeyes next year.
Yeah, those top 3 have been effective, and their key players have taken home some all-district honors as well.
Yeah, these teams weren't the only ones to finish with some personal awards for the season. Some others gaining recognition include 2 from Vinton County in Jacob Wells and Zach Radabaugh in Division 4, and Alexander's leaders on defense in Caleb Beasley and Luke Chapman in Division 5.
Yeah, can't forget about them. And hey, the Athens Bulldogs have had a pretty good history of QBs go through their school. Clay Davis was a Player of the Year candidate last season. And oh yeah, that Joe Burrow guy down there in LSU, he was a Bulldog as well. This year's quarterback under center could launch it down the field and leave defenders' ankles in the backfield. Joey Moore, quarterback, Athens.
Joey Moore is a dual threat quarterback. QB Joey Moore was the captain of the ship that kept the Bulldogs competitive.
I throw teeters.
It's Joey Moore. Could you make it look any easier, big fella? Stutter step and he's in for the score. No celebration needed. And Joey Moore would do the rest himself, bringing it in from 6 yards out to put the Bulldogs up 7-0.
Under the lights at Athens, it's amazing.
The Bulldog quarterback is an electrifying athlete with a cannon on his right shoulder.
Moore would drop this dime to Braden Markins again.
Celebrating with my boys are awesome.
Now, Joey couldn't be with us tonight because he is out of town, but Jacob was there watching him grow as a quarterback and a leader.
Yeah, Joseph, at the beginning of the year, Moore would use his legs more than using his arm, but however, he gained confidence in that deep ball, and he became one of the best passers in our coverage, evidenced by the fact he was top 10 in the entire state in passing yards. And once Coach Nathan White began using that hurry-up offense for a signal caller, the sky was the limit.
Yeah, our game
Lights at Athens, it's amazing.
What's something in store that you think that people should know?
We're hoping for a better season for sure. You know, losing these seniors is gonna hurt too. We're athletic seniors.
Where do you think that starts, though?
In the off season. Wait, we have small kids. We got to get big. Effort. That's all. It's about effort, really.
When you see that and you see your lineman, doing that for you, what's going through your head? Do you give them props on the sideline?
Definitely. Yeah. They get me juiced, especially when they block like that. Like seeing Alex and like Brian List block their big ends. It was great.
I know we talk about confidence and stuff like that, but you kind of need that little voice in your head saying keep going. Do you think you have that?
Honestly, when I look out there and I see my brothers, that switch comes on. Get me hype, get me going. When I'm tired, it picks me up.
How does it feel to you to hear your name amongst those great quarterbacks back?
Amazing. It's great. Just knowing that Joe played for us and Clay, they both played for us, really good quarterbacks. They moved on to college. Clay went to Division III and Joe went to Division I, so just seeing that helps a lot.
Obviously, Joe Burrow went to Athens. What do you think that's been like? Have his success come back to you guys?
I worked out with him actually over the summer. Yeah, and it was great. He was back for like his week off or whatever, and he came back and worked me out. Coach White.
What are the expectations next year?
Won the TVC championship, definitely.
Our game of the year featured one team fighting to win the championship outright in the Ohio. Another was fighting for a share of the title and a better shot at making the playoffs. Here is our own Brian Kerp with the game of the year in the TVC Ohio.
Another season, another Athens-NY battle for the Ohio crown. The Buckeyes came into the Plains looking to claim a share of the title. Athens and quarterback Joey Moore got on the scoreboard first as Moore found the end zone from 10 yards out. The Buckeyes were quick to respond as Mikey Seal used his wheels and scored the equalizer from 42 yards out to tie it at 7. NY had a trick up its sleeve in the second quarter. Keegan Wilbur, known for his legs, showed off his arm and connected with Austin Thrapp for the 53-yard touchdown to put NY up 21-7 at the half. The Buckeyes extended the lead to 28-7, but the Bulldogs didn't lose their fight. Joey Moore and Braden Halbert connected for 2 touchdowns to make it a one-possession game early in the fourth quarter. Seal added some insurance for the Buckeyes with a QB sneak to make it 35-21, but again, the Bulldogs countered. Moore snuck it in himself to once again make it a one-score game. Athens had a chance to tie the game in the final minute, but Moore's pass gets picked off inside the 5-yard line. The tensions were high in this one, but it was the Buckeyes that felt the glory of victory and the Bulldogs that felt the agony of defeat. There were 2 champions in the TVC Ohio at the end of the 2019 season.
Thanks, Brian. The Golden Rockets were projected towards the bottom of the TVC Ohio. I'm not going to lie to the people. A new coach, a new system, a new scheme, but one player took his game to the next level on both sides of the ball. Rylan Han, running back, defensive back, Wellston. You got to see Han in person.
He is the fuel for this Rocket team.
And the task at hand, stop Rylan Han.
He finds the hole and breaks through it, weaving his way for a 39-yard run. Big-time players make big-time plays.
Me improving on not necessarily my physical game, but my mental game, I think really changed the way I played this year.
Rylan Han comes right back with one of his own on this 30-yard run. Makes the defender slip and slide and waltzes his way into the end zone.
And when we beat Nelsonville, that's when I was like, all right, we're special.
And what an acrobatic pick by Rylan Han, doing it on both sides of the ball. And Han would do it with his arm as well, finding Smith in the end zone.
Going to the playoffs for the first time since 2006, and especially when no one expected you to, and to change that real quick, it means a lot to the community.
BC with the ball now in a second. Dameron looking to get the Vikings downfield, but Rylan Han says no, sir, and picks it off.
If you don't play good, you'll remember it for the rest of your life. If you do play good, you'll remember it for the rest of your life.
All right, Jacob Murray and Rylan join us now here at the desk.
Right. So, Rylan, first off, how did you feel after being known that you were up for this award?
It was a good honor, but I couldn't do it with my coach and my teammates and the people supporting me. But being up for an honor of Gridiron Glory Player of the Year, it's just something that you can't really explain. When you don't even see yourself being the Player of the Year at the end of the year, when you come into the season, and then you come in and you see, okay, I'm a candidate and I'm a potential winner, it really means a lot to you, and then the community and the teammates around you that also helped you get to that position.
Right. So I know you're here right now, but there's another person out there in the crowd for Player of the Year that you know very well. Can you talk about your relationship between you and Jaden?
Well, me and Jaden know each other ever since he played at Vinton County, because Vinton County and Wellston, they're also rivalries. And we played in the same conference, and he's always been a good running back, and we always respected each other. He's always been big, fast, strong. And me and Jaden, we've always respected each other and how we play, and we kind of got each other. We know how the game goes, how much work it takes to get dedication. We saw each other at some football camps, and we talked about maybe joining forces at some point in time, but that didn't happen, which was sad. But it is how it is. But me and Jaden have always been kind of close knit. We had a better relationship than you would with any other team with a football player.
Right. So you made the playoffs for the first time in your career. How'd that feel?
It's a really good feeling. We would like to go farther in the playoffs, but to make the playoffs in 13 years since 2006, it is another feeling. It's only the third time in school history. So when you make history like that and you go out in your senior year like that with your brothers, with your teammates, with the community and that you love, it is a feeling that you can't explain and remember forever.
Right. So you would be the first Wellston player to win Gridiron Glory Player of the Year. How would you feel? How would the community feel about that, and how would you feel about that, winning that award?
Like I said, I couldn't do it without the community, and I think it'd be fun. It'd be like kind of a pride thing for the community, have a Wellston kid go up there and win. It's their own little production. Everyone, and then for me, it mean a lot to me, because it's like what you look forward to. This is like the top dog trophy. This is what you want. It's what you work for the whole year, all 4 years. You're like, you watch these guys on these interviews, like, when will I be there? When can I be there? Do I ever have the chance to be there? Do I ever have the opportunity to be there? And when you get there and you're a candidate, it means the world until you win the trophy, and then winning the trophy would be a whole different feeling.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. Rylan, we might see you later. Who knows? All right, now it's time for the man leading the practices and making the game plans. He wears the headset, well, in this case, he wears his hat and gets his players in positions and the mindset to succeed. He was able to turn around a program from 3-7 to 7-3 in the team's first playoff appearance in 2006, like we just said. Here is the Gridiron Glory Season 21 Coach of the Year, Mike Smith from Wellston.
Comes in, he brings that, that intimidation, that respect factor. You're going to respect him. He's going to be intimidating, and you don't have to fear him as a coach and respect him and do what he says to do. He just brought that vibe to football, to Wellston when he came in. I remember we came in and talked to the cafeteria, and he just brought that vibe, When
this job opened up, and I kind of got started talking to Jeff a little bit about the position and found out what was going on, and once the interview process and everything started, we just kind of everything fell into place, and we found out these guys, once I met these guys and found out, when I really found out more about them than anything, it's when I started watching the film from last year's team. After I was hired, and we started watching film from last year's team, and it was like, wow, we got some athletes.
Just that mentality, that winning mentality, Rylan said he brought. I started to realize that him coming as a coach was one of the best things that could have happened for my senior season.
When we came in, we basically changed everything that they did. I mean, from the way they lifted weights, to the way they conditioned, to the way they watched film. So, you know, and not saying that what he did was wrong. It's just what we did was different. This is more of a, there's such a tight-knit group of kids that really there's not a whole lot of individualism here. I mean, they play for each other, and a lot of times, you know, you got athletes, some of them dislike each other. We didn't have that problem.
Mike Smith here, and we have a plaque for you. There you go. Here's your award.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, so some claps, huh? There we go. Alrighty, what's it like winning the Coach of the Year in the first year being at Wellston?
Well, it was kind of a shock, to be honest. You know, we didn't know what to be expected when we came in here this year, but it's been a phenomenal year. The kids have done a tremendous job. Coaching staff done a great job. Administration done a tremendous job. You know, one of those things that don't happen very often. And this was just a special situation, so it's been a great year.
Yeah. You got a young group, but you have a great senior leaving. What was it like coaching Rylan?
Very easy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a very talented kid. He's very easy to coach. He's very intelligent, knowledge of the game. He's great to be around, comes from a great family, good student. He's just all-around good guy.
Yeah, and then you obviously 3-7 to 7-3, first playoffs. What was that like, making it back there?
It was it was an exciting ride. You know, we came in and we thought we could win a few games because we had some athletes, and then things started to kind of take shape and move on, and then things kind of carried on, and we went on a 6-game winning streak, and you know, the kids just did a tremendous job.
Mm-hmm. And then I know when we talked at Media Day, you were talking about cementing a new culture in Wellston. How do you feel like that has been from the start to where you're at now?
Well, I think this group of seniors has kind of set the standard for where we want to be in the future. So, you know, they have kind of been the beginning to what we hope is a good stint at Wellston High School.
Gotcha. All righty, Coach. Thank you so much for coming, and congratulations.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yep. Thanks, Coach. And stay tuned throughout the show for more WOUB news. Although football season is finishing up around the state, which is sad to say, it's basketball season, and we have some announcements about our other sports show, Hardwood Heroes. It's almost time to watch some Euro steps and a jelly finish while being in comfortable clothing inside. Woo woo! So stick around to hear more about what's to come in the winter. Living in Courthouse for a little bit of my life, I experienced a lifestyle of having one choice. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're a Blue Lion or you're a Panther. This year's matchup had a total of 9 all-FAC players on the field, and they didn't disappoint. Here is the game of the year in the Frontier Athletic Conference from Will Collins.
The Fayette County Championship was a barn burner deserving of the FAC Game of the Year nod. Miami Trace's Dalton Mayer got the scoring started early with a dime of a touchdown pass, putting the Panthers up 7-0 after their opening drive. Washington Courthouse's Jamie McCain would answer the Panthers, though, with a touchdown of his own, but the Blue Lions would trail 7-6 after a blocked PAT. Late in the first quarter, Trace would get back on the board again on another great play from Dalton Mayer, this time with his legs, faking the option pitch, making the cut, and turning on the Jets en route to his 46-yard score, making the score 14-6. With no scoring until late in the second quarter, Jamie McCain would once again get the call, rumbling his way into the end zone, bringing the Blue Lions within 2 going into the half, the score being 14-12. To start the second half, the Panthers would see 2 more touchdown passes from Dalton Mayer and a field goal, putting them ahead 30-12 with a quarter to go in the ballgame. Being down didn't sit well with the Blue Lions, though, and quarterback Ethan Rogers-Wright wanted to do something about that. So he hits his star receiver Eli Lynch on this 54-yard score, and with the Blue Lions now within 10 points, they began to pick the Panthers apart through the air. Rogers-Wright would hit Lynch on another score and take the lead on a 78-yard bomb to Callan Brown. The lead would be extended to 33-30 there, with the Blue Lions coming out on top, 40-33.
In the Frontier Athletic Conference, the #1 team stayed consistent from start to finish. We did see a lot of improvement from the bottom teams and even some that came out of nowhere from last season. Here is the FAC recap from our FAC reporters, Joe Collins and Jack Demler.
Coming into the third year as a conference, the FAC saw a major shakeup in its standing.
Let's jump right in with the McLean Tigers. They finished the year 2-8 with a conference record of 0-5. This team was very young, especially on the offensive side. They're still looking to get back on their feet under second-year head coach Jacob Orzotti. In front of them was Hillsboro, who after sharing the league title with Jackson last year, finished the season 4-6 and 1-4 in the FAC. Just like McLean, they have a solid young core that is hoping to bring them back to the top. One of the biggest surprises this year was the Miami Trace Panthers. After going 1-9 and 2-8 their first 2 years in the FAC, they finished 5-5 and 2-3 in the conference. Their big story was the emergence of sophomore running back Jaden LeBeau, who finished the year with 1,074 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns.
Despite having the same 3-2 conference record as last year, the teams outside the FAC have grown stronger, leaving a big impact on Chillicothe's record. Cameron Smith stepped up big for the team as he was forced to play quarterback this year due to injury. Player of the Year candidates Eli Lynch and Ethan Rogers-Wright were the dynamic duo of the FAC. They helped the Blue Lions to a 7-3 record. The Blue Lions finished 4-1 in the FAC, with their only loss coming to the conference champions, the Jackson Ironmen. After sharing the conference title last year, Jackson came back better than before. Jackson utilized their ground game very effectively, allowing Player of the Year candidate Jaden Spires to rack up the rushing yards.
Year 3 of the FAC brought us some memorable games and key players rising to the occasion, and we can't wait to see what Year 4 will bring.
Thanks, guys. Joining me now for one last time, FAC lead reporter Will Collins is here to give us his takeaways from the third season of the Frontier Athletic Conference play.
Joseph, in 3 years' worth of covering the FAC, I've seen some of the best football and covered some historic stories. Speaking of the best football, over the last 3 years, the Jackson Ironmen have been at or near the top of the pack in the conference, and this year they made history. They were the first team to go undefeated in the history of the league, going 10-0 and finishing with an 11-1 record overall. They were led along the way by GGPOY candidate and District Offensive Player of the Year, Jaden Spires, who is a force to be reckoned with on both sides of the ball, and by co-district Defensive Players of the Year, Bryce and Anthony Parks on defense.
The Ironmen are good, but where do the future stars of the conference hail from?
The future stars of this conference come from Fayette County, Miami Trace, and Washington Courthouse, respectively. Jaden LeBeau and Ethan Rogers-Wright are my players to watch for next season. Starting with LeBeau, as just a sophomore, he finished close to a close second to Jaden Spires in rushing yards and has the ability to make a play whenever he has the ball in his hands. He thrives on powers and sweeps to the outside, where he gets a chance to use his speed to hit the edge and make people miss. As for the Blue Lions, they have Ethan Rogers-Wright, a young gun who can absolutely sling the rock. He can hit throws in short, intermediate, and deep range and can thread the ball in between defenders.
Yeah, any predictions on the future of the conference?
Not to get too far ahead of myself here, Joe, but the Ironmen will retain the crown, but they should expect strong challenges from Miami Trace and Washington Courthouse. Jacob Winters from Jackson could have a strong season at quarterback, and Cameron Smith from Chillicothe could be the all-around guy they need to get back on top.
Will, as always, thanks for the hard work. You love your FAC teams. Thanks for everything, man.
It's been an honor, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah. All righty. The Jackson Ironmen averaged 43 points per game all season on defense. They allowed 15 a game. Their success came from the FAC Player of the Year, and the Ironmen were ecstatic he was flying around in their colors because he was dominating everyone in his path. Jaden Spires, running back and linebacker, Jackson.
Listen to the stat line, Joe. 20 carries, 225 yards, and 2 touchdowns with an average of 11.3 yards a carry.
Always give the maximum effort and don't give up.
Jaden Spires makes a few punishing cuts. He was virtually untouchable when he had the ball in his hands.
I play for the whole Jackson community and my parents, and coaches.
No need to fear, though, Jackson fans. Jaden Spires would take this counter, make a cut, and race into the end zone from 23 yards out.
Special thanks to my coaches that made it happen.
All righty, Will and Jaden join us here now at the desk.
Jaden, how does it feel to be a Player of the Year candidate?
It feels great. It's a great honor, and I wouldn't be here without all the support I have from Jackson.
So tell me about that community, the support they've given you, especially after you got put up for this award.
They just give so much support, and they're always there for me, and I know that they're always supporting me.
So did your classmates vote for you? Did teachers get them to vote for you? How'd that go down?
Yeah, the teachers got all the students to go out of the way and vote for me in every class, and it's great.
So You played on both sides of the ball, of course. Which side do you like more?
I like playing both sides of the ball, but if I had to pick one, it'd be defense.
And why is that?
I just like being physical and going up to hit people.
Hitting guys, huh?
So, Coach Hall's in the audience here tonight with you, and you brought him along. What kind of impact did Coach Hall have on your career at Jackson?
He's made a great impact in my career, and he's taught me so many things that I haven't before, and he's a great leader.
And I think, at least most importantly, what would it mean to you to win this award, and what would it mean to the Jackson community?
It means so much to me and the community with all the support, and they're all wanting me to win.
Yeah. It will be a lot of fun to see you win. I know you said you had the whole school come out and vote for you on the computer, so that's a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us. We might see you later.
Thank you.
Alrighty. This past season, I've seen star players shine and linemen do the dirty work, but also I've been able to mingle with the public and find some of the best fans in Southeastern Ohio. Our Fan of the Week segments of the week have been fun to make, and meeting the insane hometown crowd has been entertaining, to say the least.
Let's find the biggest fan here, eh?
Right here. I want to know who's the biggest fan out of this group.
Football. Sports. All right. Woo! Hey, boy! How's it feel being taller than everyone else?
It's nice because you get to see over everybody.
Shout out to the golf team today, winning the NBL championship.
NBL today.
Why are you the biggest fan?
Because I've been the cheerleading coach for 12 years.
Do you think that you're Sheridan's biggest fan? Yeah. George Guy, what's your name?
Ethan Grimm.
All right, it's okay if I just call you George Guy. You're pro.
care.
Hey man, how you doing? What's your name?
I'm Dylan.
Dylan, nice to meet you, man. I'm Joe. Yeah, George Guy. Should I throw it up? No, that's so unsafe.
Yeah, look at there.
You got shoes. Oh, wait, SpongeBob?
Yeah, SpongeBob.
For real?
Yeah.
Yo, I know those are tough.
Baseball.
And baseball too, bro. And baseball.
Baseball.
Kate? Hey, why do you think you're the biggest fan?
Because I went to every home game for like 5 years maybe.
Come on, get rowdy. You get the whole group over here?
She even got her special cowboy. I got my
Can you sing it?
Hey.
Hey, he's wearing a lineman shirt. Oh! Whoa! I really loved going out to all those schools and talking with everyone. It was always something I looked forward to since I started hosting this show, and I'm glad I was able to meet some great fans, some great people, and great kids. In Week 4, we saw 2 playoff teams battle it out on the field for their home crowd, green and white. Neither of them were focused on Week 11 yet. They were focused on taking down their Hocking foe and getting the bump up in the conference standings. Our game of the year was intense, and TVC Hocking reporter Zach Paquette has the rundown on it.
The TVC Hocking had 3 teams reach the playoffs this season, including the Waterford Wildcats and Eastern Eagles, who made their first appearance since 2001. These 2 teams met in Reedsville in Week 4 to see who had the early edge in the Hocking. Both teams came in at 2-1 and were looking to rebound after tough losses the week prior. After an early defensive battle, Cole Miller opened the scoring for the Wildcats by blocking the Eastern punt and returning it for 6. Eastern responded quickly thanks to a 1-yard score by Steve Fitzgerald, making it 7-6 Eagles in the second quarter. It would be the Wildcats who would score next as Holden Daly finds an opening and cruises into the end zone, making it 12-7 Wildcats. But right before the half, the Wildcats extended their lead when Zane Heiss rolls out and finds Nick Faust for the wide open touchdown, making it 18-7 Waterford at the half. Eastern would come out with some urgency in the second half, but their comeback would come up just short as Waterford were going to win this one, 24-19. Daly and Miller each found the end zone once, but Faust had a great game with 163 total yards and 2 scores. Waterford will go on to win 5 of their next 6 games to finish the regular season at 8-2.
The Hocking this season had not 1, not 2, But 3 teams make it past Week 10 and into the OHSAA playoffs. We saw the Big Cats trample through. We saw the other Cats beat everyone else. And we saw some Eagles soar for the first time since 2001. Our own Jacob Mata has everything TVC Hocking.
The 2019 TVC Hocking season was action-packed and full of firsts for many teams. The Federal Hocking Lancers won their first game since the 2014 season. Although they canceled the last half of their schedule, they are hoping to be back and ready to win more games next season. WOUB and South Gallia might not have gotten the results they wanted, but they will look to their youth to rebound next year. Miller started off slow, but they showed spark, winning 3 of their last 5 games, and they finished 4-6, looking to ride that momentum into the 2020 season. The Southern Tornadoes bid farewell to senior running back Trey McNichol, who led them to a 5-5 record, but the back half of their schedule was a tough one, as they won only 1 of their last 6 games. Belpre caught fire in the middle of their season, winning 5 in a row, finishing 5-5. They returned junior quarterback Connor Baker, and he will lead their team next season. Making another return was the Eastern Eagles to state playoffs for the first time since 2001, improving to 8-3 this season. Blake Newland and Steve Fitzgerald look to return to the state playoffs next season. Zane Heiss and company led Waterford to another playoff appearance and an 8-2 regular season record, but fell short against Harvest Prep in the second round. Trimble dominated the Hocking start to finish this season, winning all 10 regular season games and shutting out 9 of their opponents, tying a school record. A second round playoff exit was a tough one to swallow for some of the Trimble seniors. They'll look for their youth to step up heading into 2020.
The TVC Hocking is always fun to follow along with. For a breakdown of the top 3, we have TVC Hocking lead reporter Sam Wiesnith.
Joe, I've covered the Hocking over the past 3 years for Gridiron, and I have loved watching these teams get stronger every year. This season really allowed for seniors to shine and new names to step up.
Speaking of seniors, the Trimble Tomcats were at the top of the Hocking yet again, but they are losing some big names.
Yeah, the seniors out in Gloucester had a great run with the Tomcats. Trimble is losing GGPOY candidate Connor Wright, Cam Kittle, Sawyer Coons, Sean Turley, Ian Joyce, and Garrett Richards. That being said, we did see some rising stars this season. Todd Bouts, Austin Weiser, Bryce Downs, and Blake Guffey will all be back on the field next fall.
They have a lot of guys graduating, but like you said, their returning players really stepped up this season. What about Waterford, though?
There are definitely some trade-offs for the Wildcats. Nick Baus and Zane Heiss are graduating, but Joe Pantelitis, Cole Miller, and Grant McCutcheon will return and should keep Waterford at about the same level.
The Eastern Eagles had a phenomenal season, making the playoffs for the first time since 2001, and they have some key players returning that they will rely on next season.
Yeah, their team is going to look very similar, so they can only get better. They have Connor Ridenauer, Steve Fitzgerald, Blake Newland, and Southeastern Ohio District D7 Defensive Player of the Year, Will Oldacker, staying.
Yeah, this is interesting, though. The TVC Hocking will be losing a team.
After a decade in the TVC Hocking, the WOUB White Falcons are heading to the Little Kanawha Conference next season. Playing in the LKC will allow the White Falcons to stay in West Virginia and will have consistent statewide rules rather than crossing into Ohio. The most important factor for WOUB's move is scheduling. Bouncing between 2 states made for a lot of scheduling conflicts, and now in the LKC, WOUB will be able to play a full schedule.
WOUB made big strides in the Hocking this season, but moving to the LKC will help them be more competitive. Thanks for everything, Sam. I know why you're here. I know why this thing is on your screen right now. You want to learn more about Southeastern Ohio football and the information that you need. This past season, we saw 5 guys separate themselves, and that's why you are here. It's because you want to find out who the GG Player of the Year is. We're getting close to it, I promise, to announcing it. I pinky promise, so stay tuned. Football season is wrapped up, but hey, we're not done with our show. Don't leave us just yet. But now, it's basketball time, and for all things Southeastern Ohio hoops, watch Hardwood Heroes and go to WOUB.org/heroes. We have new faces on the teams we will cover with new reporters, and this year, a new host, our own Sam Wiesnith.
That's right, I'll be trading in my Gridiron polo for this nifty blue and gold one. I am so excited to be hosting Season 11 of Hardwood Heroes alongside my good friend T. Willis. As last year's host Paul Roth pointed out, both he and Nick Niehaus covered Trimble and went on to host, and T and I are continuing that tradition. To get you pumped up for the season of Hardwood, our producer Ethan Sands put together some of our best highlights from last season.
We can't wait to see how things shake out for these teams this season, and I know you're getting started pretty quickly.
Absolutely. We're rolling right into our coverage starting tomorrow. We'll have reporters heading out to games all day tomorrow. We'll be covering Athens girls at New Lex, Waterford boys at Nelsonville York, and Trimble boys versus Benton County at Athens High School. To stay caught up on all the courtside action, be sure to follow our social media at Hardwood Heroes on Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. Plus, you can find all the action at woub.org/heroes and on WOUB's YouTube page.
Thanks, Sam. We're all looking forward to a great season. Mays gang, though. The Trimble Tomcats won the Hocking again, and they bullied everyone. If you were able to witness their beatdowns, you would hear the whistle blowing from the loudspeakers. It's because of the guy with the nickname, the Wright Train, Connor Wright, running back and linebacker, Trimble. No other way to put it, really. Wright is dominant in the Hocking, and any opponent they face fears him. He only plays a half of football every week because Trimble is up by so much.
Connor Wright wastes no time. He'll carry the ball for 12 yards and a Trimble touchdown. It's 7-0.
Football is light for the Trimble Tomcats.
Wright gets the ball again. This time he runs for 72 yards with no tornado defenders in sight. It's 14-0.
I've gotten in on defense a lot more than I did last year. I only played a few snaps towards the end of the year. This year I've played almost every snap, every game. You can do it in the time and support you get from last year.
And Connor Wright joins us now. Connor, thank you so much for being here with us.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, this is your second time being here. So what's it like to be up for GGPOY for the second time, and what would it mean to you to win this award?
It's deja vu, obviously, second time being here, but it'd mean a great deal to me and my family and my community if I could take this trophy home with me this time.
Yeah, you have such a great support system with the whole Gloucester community. What's it like to have that fan base following you from game to game throughout the playoffs too?
It's everything. You know, they do everything for us. We do everything for them. It's a give and take system that just works so good with us and our community.
Yeah, and your team has also been a great support system too, because you guys have been playing together since you were little. What's that been like, kind of rising up through the grades?
Yeah, it's great to play with your best friends all the way up ever since you were in third grade. You know, you look to your left, you look to your right, you see the same guys throughout your whole life. It's just you build a bond with everybody that nobody can ever break.
How have you seen yourself and your team grow throughout the past 4 years playing at Trimble High School?
We've grown, obviously, as brothers. We've grown in many ways that way, mentally, physically, to get all together, which is what builds that bond so great, is when you can do all those things together.
Yeah, and I know lifting competitions is one big thing you guys do, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we really got into lifting in between freshman and sophomore year, and ever since then it's an everyday thing for all of us.
And I know you have basketball season coming up too, right? You want to talk about that a little bit?
You know, I'm a football player, but we're really into basketball too. We have basically the same team coming back. We graduated one guy, and then Jeremiah Brown isn't playing this year, I'm sad to say. But other than that, it's the same exact team as last year.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Well, thanks, Connor, for showing up.
Yeah, no,
you
thank
got
you.
The clean shave too.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Alrighty, thanks, man. We might see you later. Who knows?
Hopefully.
Alrighty. Muskegon Valley League is filled with talent from top to bottom. In Week 8, the MVL Championship was on the line. One team looking to win for the first time since 1980. The other looking for 9 straight. David Butts has the recap for our Game of the Year in the MVL.
The 3-team tie at the top of the MVL, the Little Muskies came in with a chance to dethrone the defending champ Scotties. They start that effort with Evan Williams finding Player of the Year candidate Reese Perkins, who shows off the spin move there to find a nice gain of 23 yards, out of his 88 totaled on the night. Later in the opening drive, Wellmeyer takes the handoff left and is able to power his way into the end zone, just a small part of his 130 yards and 2 scores of production. Now with under a minute left in the opening quarter, Blake Sands on the screen pass tricks everyone, even the cameraman, and he's got a lane down the far sideline where he fights his way past the 40. Later in the possession, it's the quarterback Aiden Fritter with the keeper showing off the happy feet and setting up Tri-Valley in the red zone. But just a few plays later, Sands delivers with the score, knotting the game up at 7 each. After a Little Muskies punt, the Scotties went back to work, finding themselves at 4th and goal where John Glenn gets the stop, but a penalty would give Flitter another chance that he wouldn't waste to give Tri-Valley a 14-7 lead at the half. But the second half would see a John Glenn comeback capped off by a game-winning field goal in the outstanding play of Wellmeyer to give John Glenn the 24-21 win in their share of the conference crown.
This year in the MVL, we saw the big, bad dogs fall. We witnessed one team run it back and one go fishing for a chance at the top. With the switching up of bigger and smaller school divisions next year, this could be the last time we see some of these teams face off against one another. Dylan Thompson has the MVL recap for the 2019 season.
The three-team tie at the top of the MVL, the Little Muskies came in with a chance to dethrone the defending champ Scotties. They start that effort with Evan Williams finding Player of the Year candidate Reese Perkins, who shows off the spin move there to find a nice gain of 23 yards, out of his 88 totaled on the night. Later in the opening drive, Wellmeyer takes the handoff left and is able to power his way into the end zone, just a small part of his 130 yards and 2 scores of production. Now with under a minute left.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, but with me now is MVL lead reporter Paul, Roth, and Paul. We brought it up in previous weeks, but Tri-Valley no longer at the top of the MVL.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, 8 straight MVL titles came to an end for the Scotties this year, but Joe, there's good reason to believe they can be back on top next year. Now, they're bringing back both of their dynamic running backs in Blake Sands and Jordan Pantaleo, as well as quarterback Aiden Fritter.
Those boys are quick in the backfield. You think Tri-Valley will be the favorite going into next season?
Oh, now hold on there, Joe. Sheridan has won a share of back-to-back titles now, and I think they very well could win it outright next year. Quarterback Nate Johnson had a solid season as QB1 of the Generals and will be back, as well as running back Jason Munyon. But the 2 biggest highlights for this team coming back are Shea Taylor on the defensive side and 9 seniors on the offensive and defensive lines.
Well, don't forget about John Glenn. They found themselves at the top along with Sheridan in the end, like we just said.
Well, give me a second there, brother. I didn't forget about the Little Muskies. Heck of a season Coach Matt Edwards and the boys put together. Made it not only to Week 11, but Week 12 as well. But looking ahead, they're losing a lot of key pieces. Quarterback Evan Williams, gone. Defensive stud Score Perkins, gone. 7 offensive and defensive linemen, gone. Oh yeah, and GGPOY candidate and Reese Perkins is graduating as well. But they will return Noah Wellmeyer, who emerged out of the backfield this season, and as a run-heavy team, that's sure to be a big help.
Certainly a lot of shakeups for them, but before we move on, give us some names to watch for GGPOY out of the MVL next year. Who do you got?
Well, I'll give you 2, Joe. First, Casey Munyon of Philo. With Hunter Adolph graduating, look for Philo to lean heavily on Munyon and the run game. And then Logan Ratliff of New Lexington. He thrived in Coach Board's new offensive system this year, and if they can get a few big-time wins, I have no doubt he should end up on that list.
Yeah, good picks, good picks. That'll be fun to see what happens. But Paul, thanks for everything, as always, my man. Alrighty, now this year out of the MVL, our lone wide receiver tonight broke the school's single season receiving yards record. His team is a ground and pound offense that relies a lot on their aggressive defense, but with him out wide, they were able to open up the entire field and beat teams badly. Reese Perkins, wide receiver. Defensive back, John Glenn.
And when I got the opportunity to make a play, you got to catch it because you don't know how many you're going to get in the game.
Williams fires it over the middle, and Reese Perkins is there to pull it down, and he's looking for more.
Week 4 and Week 8 definitely got us going this year. We beat Philo. I think it gave us confidence. Finally started getting a roll. Then Tri-Valley, once we beat them, it got it rolling.
Williams drops back and fires over the middle. Oh my gosh, Reese Perkins, you didn't have to do him like that, boy.
We know we have a good defense. We pride ourselves in that. The memories that I'll have with my whole team after that game, it was just a great experience.
Now, unfortunately, Reese was not able to make it tonight, but we sat down with him last week to see what makes him tick and ask him what it would mean to win Gridiron Glory Player of the Year.
I think it was a good season. We met all of our expectations. Get to Week 11 was one of them, and obviously the MVL title hadn't been won in almost 40 years. So, 40 years is a long time. Not even all of our coaches were alive yet. So, to change that banner, 2019 MVL champs coming back in 5-10 years, we can say, yeah, that's us. One thing I wanted to improve over the off season was route running. Getting open. I'm not the fastest kid on the field. So I knew I couldn't get open with my speed, so I just worked a lot on my route running and, set myself up to get open. For sure, offense, you know, that's time to score some points, make some big plays. That's when you get your name in the paper. You know, I still prided myself in defense, but for sure the offensive side. Obviously, it's just not me. It starts up front with our offensive line, with our quarterback, Evan Williams. He could throw great balls all year. You know, running backs, pass protection, setting me up. They got to respect the run with Noah Wellmeyer, Brady Emerson. It starts with those guys. Favorite moment, definitely after week 10, celebrating that NVL championship with my teammates in the locker room. You know, it was just a moment I'll never forget. Just the environment and the memories that I'll have with my whole team after that game. It was just a great experience.
It was great getting a chance to talk to Reese. He's a guy with a lot of talent on the football field, as we know, but the way he raved about his teammates showed his character off of the field. His dad and I had a pretty good discussion as well. Great family. Thanks for coming. And for all of our written content, go to WOUB.org/gridiron. We have pieces on all of our Gridiron Glory Player of the Year candidates, some film breakdown pieces, some feature stories. We have a lot for you to read, and we love doing it. We have game recaps we went to, as well as the season recaps we are talking about tonight. Again, that is WOUB.org/gridiron. Over the season, we have had one-handed snags, long runs, crowd-silencing hits, and crowd-deafening touchdowns, and we have picked out the cream of the crop, the best of the best, the prime examples of pure athleticism and talent. Here are the top 10 plays of Gridiron Glory, Season 21. At number 10, from Week 2, it's Braden Halbert, and he has the power driver on Jackson Spires. Good form, and that's a big hit. Then at number 9, it's Chillicothe's Cameron Smith. He's going to get a hand on the ball. He's going to tip it up to himself. He scoops it in, and then he's going to take it up the field for the positive gain in Week 3. Making a man miss. Ayo, no touchy, no touch. That's number 9. For number 8, it's in Week 9, and it's a boot from Zach McLean of Crooksville. He nails this 48-yarder. We love a good 45-plus bomb from a high school kicker. At 7, it's John Glenn, and it's Brady Emerson with the sticky hands. He might be using something illegal on his gloves because he kept control even when it was on the Philo player's helmet. Nice snag, Brady. I guess that's why he's playing D1 baseball, huh? And at 6, it's Gloucester's own Cameron Kittle. Here's some pretty fun gifs from Media Day, flexing hard. Alrighty, here he is. He's going to scramble to his right, got nothing. He's going to backpedal, still nothing. Moves up in the pocket, fires it deep, and finds his guy who tips it up and comes down with it for the big score. What a toss against Waterford, and what hand-eye coordination from Blake Guffey. Then it's GGPOY candidate Reese Perkins over the middle against the Ceramics, and he stops on a dime and walks in for the easy tutty. Let the DB just fly by him like he was on a magic carpet ride for top play number 5. And at 4, it's Rylan Mullihan diving for the acrobatic interception, holding onto the ball while rolling on his shoulder. That was in a heated game against NY, and this play is just nuts. It's the Blue Lions of Washington Courthouse, and Callum Brown has the touchdown, right? Wrong! The ball gets knocked out and it's on the ground, and Eli Lynch comes out of nowhere to get on top of it and get the score for the boys at number 3. If you thought that last one was wild, then look at this. Player of the Year candidate Jaden Spires takes the handoff to the left and is down. But wait, he stays on the defender's back, gets on his feet, and picks up an extra 20 yards and safely runs out of bounds. Athletic move, very, very athletic. And we have to show it again, but this time in slow-mo because we need to see it again. Stays on his back, finds his feet, hops up, and books it to the sideline. Big-time play by Jaden Spires. And our top play of the 2019 season, it's Crookville's own Brady Brandon. Stiff arm. Why not me? He's saying. And it's from Caden Miller in the corner of the end zone. And he comes down with the one-handed snag with the toe tap in the corner. He's in bounds. He's got the score. He's got the hands. And we need to show it again because he's got the top play of the entire season. Hands, feet in, touchdown. And that is our number 1 play of the season. All season long, we've looked at total yards, total touchdowns, averages per game, who lights up the scoreboard, who is the fastest, who is the strongest. But mostly, all the players have been offensive guys. What about the defensive guys on the opposite side of the ball? Here are some of the best defensive players in Gridiron Glory's coverage.
In the MVL, we have Shea Taylor from the Sheridan Generals. He finished Southeastern Ohio All-District First Team in D3, First Team All-MVL, and was voted Linebacker of the Year in the MVL, and he's only a junior. Brady Emerson was the leading tackler with 197 in the regular season for a John Glenn team that only gave up 12.5 points per game. The Ohio State baseball commit was all over the field with 12 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 interception. The Ironmen were led by Anthony and Bryce Parks, who were named co-defensive players of the year in the Southeastern Ohio All-District team in D3.
Number 25, Bryce, has been, how do you put it, good at the sport of football for his whole career. He's always looking for contact, and with his wrestling background, he could take down the ball carrier to the ground, but on the field for no points. Number 63, Anthony, plays up front, and when his left foot is planted and his right foot starts to move around, he's ready, and when the ball is snapped, he shoots up and out like a rocket and gets the big hit. The Nelsonville York Buckeyes had themselves a great tackler in Colton Snyder. As a middle linebacker, he's the commander of the defense, and he was that all year long. He ended the year with more than 150 total tackles, 23 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, making the Southeastern Ohio All-District first-team All-Defense squad in Division 6. And in the Hocking, the entire Trimble defense was powerful. They allowed just 6 points all regular season. They had 2 Southeastern Ohio All-District first-team defensive linemen in Ian Joyce and Sean Turley up front, but they were led by their mean, mugging leader at linebacker Sawyer Coons. The State Defensive Player of the Year in D7 last season racked up another award, this time in D6. Coons is the Southeastern Ohio All-District Defensive Player of the Year with 115 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions, and 1 defensive touchdown. Trimble is going to miss him. His legacy will live forever for the Tomcats. And those were some of the best defenders we saw this season in Southeastern Ohio. Some of those guys could be on the All-State team and body dudes all year long. We highlight touchdowns and don't get a lot of time for these guys making an impact on the other side of the ball. These players were phenoms. Alrighty, it is officially time to announce the Gridiron Glory Season 21 Player of the Year. All of the guys we talked about tonight are more than deserving of this award and had phenomenal seasons that Southeastern Ohio football fans will not forget. Alrighty, we bring in our own associate producer, Joey Medore, giving me, here we go. Yeah, we like that claps, Emrod. Appreciate it. All right, this year, with just less than 10,000 votes, broke our record of fan voting, making this the most anticipated Player of the Year award in the history of our show. I have no idea who is going to win. Okay, I told him not to tell me. All right, so here we go. The winner of the 2019 Gridiron Glory Player of the Year is Connor Wright from Trimble.
Not only what it would mean to me, what it would mean to my community and my family, and obviously me, it'd be a great deal. But I think it'd mean even more to my community that somebody from Trimble could win that, My favorite memory of the whole entire season, including in the summer, because that's the whole basis, that's the foundation of everybody's football season. My favorite memory would be lifting with my whole team during the summer. Not just this season, but all 4 years. It's definitely, you just come close to everybody. You lift, you go eat after, you come to Athens, you go swim at the lake, anything like that. It's a really great experience with all your buddies and your brothers. It's always about football in Trimble.
Connor Wright, our Gridiron Glory Player of the Year candidate. He had himself a night, 3 rushing touchdowns. Train joins me now. Connor, how's it feel, man?
Oh, great, man. Second time's a charm.
Yeah. I'm about to say, you were so close last year. This year, do you think it had something to do with the guys around you?
Oh, definitely. The guys around me, community around me, everybody around me, You expect the votes the next year, hopefully be a lot bigger and better. Mm-hmm. I guess that's what happened.
Yeah. I'm about to say, you always talk about community. You always say that you want to win this award, but you think it will set up people in the future. What do you mean by that?
To leave a lasting legacy, of elite Trimble football players. I'd like for, the next 10 years when I'm gone, my little brother will be a freshman next year. I hope that the level of playing raises just a little bit in the Trimble football community.
Mm-hmm. What are you going to miss the most, man?
The hard work with my brothers, the putting in the hard work after practice, before practice, anytime like that with my friends. I consider them as family, and then seeing all the benefits we reap from it. Yeah. It's an amazing experience.
I would say you joined a pretty good group of football players winning this award. How do you think you compare to that, or do you just not think about that? You just think, hey, you won, I got this.
Justin Jenkins was up for this award in 2015. It's great to know that I was at that level of playing in my high school career, and everybody that's won this award since then, I know that I joined a pretty elite club of people.
Mm-hmm. And what do you feel has been your greatest career accomplishment?
Greatest career accomplishment? I want to say the state championship last year, even though we came up second. You know, that took a lot of mental and physical hard work. You know, being prepared for games, working in the weight room, finding time to work in the weight room after practice and the feeds and everything that we went through. It took a lot of time and effort.
Yeah. So what Motley Crue song are you going to listen to on the way home? Because I know it's your favorite.
Home Sweet Home, man, because I'm bringing this bad boy home.
Gotcha. All righty, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Second time around.
Yes.
That's all you need, huh?
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Now for my final Henny take. Thank you to the viewers for welcoming us into your homes every Friday night. Thank you to the coaches, players, and fans that let us into your stadiums, on your fields, and in your bleachers all season long. All of us reporting on Southeastern Ohio do it because we love it. In this journalism field, I chose there is a real chance that I may never host a football show ever again, and this has been an experience that I will never forget. I've made memories with some of the best friends a person can ask for that will stick with me for years to come. I deeply appreciate you all. For WOUB, I'm Joseph Hennessy, reminding you, for the last time, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
There was a time I was the king, living the all-American dream, quarterback of the football team. And we worked so hard in the August heat, 2 times a day, 6 days a week. Senior year, 17. The butterflies I felt there before that first game left when the whistle blew, as fast as they had came. When I said, you go short and you go long, and said we never make it but they were wrong, and just let the scoreboard tell the story. 'Cause it's first down in our lives to go, we won't forget these times, you know. Friday nights and Gridiron Glory. The air was crisp and the night was black. Bootleg Wright was the best play we had, especially when the safety turned his back. I couldn't pick a face out of the crowd, but when the touchdowns came, they got so loud. Ain't that what life is all about? Heading to the party in my used hand-me-down car. The big game is next week, but tonight we are the stars. When I said, you go short and